Right, making another video now. What it is that Mickey again sent me this video. This person, a warrior calls, is on BitChute. The video is Wake Up People of Ireland, and there's the red line there. Look, I got that far, and there's from here to go. So obviously, please go and watch the whole thing over on his channel. It's very interesting I really like what this guy has done. I don't want to explain too much because he spends the next 20-30 minutes explaining it, doesn't he, Mickey?
Yeah, it's explained it very well.
So, we have worked something out though. So what happens is, it doesn't matter. So let's just say we make a plan and we say, yes, you can have all the money you want, 3 holidays a year, 6 weeks paid holiday for everyone. We make this law that's got all these things in it, and then we say, oh no, we've gone to war. And they change the law then. And then they take out and they amend it. And this is what's happened in what he's seen. And there's a document that the people made in Ireland, and it was lawful. It was legally it was being used. And then he said that Ireland in the Second World War wanted to stay neutral, but for some reason it didn't happen like that, did it, Mickey? So basically they've been told they're at war, and then they could amend things. And amending it is the bit he's noticed, is that so much was taken out of the original document. Anything you want to say, Mickey?
No. I think everybody else thinks that's
Yeah, we did listen to it the other day, but listening to it again, obviously that guy, I think it's quite a long watch, but it's like that 29 minutes is one sentence. He doesn't stop, but it's worth listening to because he's worked things out, and that is just still falls in, because in the document where it's amended, what's the word they use, Mickey? Roman!
Yes.
He says in the document it's got Roman, and we've just done the Carl Schulten All Saints Church that is in the Roman way, in Protestant church, but they're Romans. Well, Roman, yeah, but they don't understand it all, do they, Mickey?
No, it's just very complicated.
Yeah. But there you go. This is really worth watching. I can't see why YouTube are going to mind this at all, because it's just an explanation of what this person sees in history.
History,
Yeah, it's a legally binding document, so there's nothing that should be strange. You know, YouTube shouldn't get funny at all. But yeah, so should we watch the video, Mickey?
I think so, Kat.
Or have you got anything else to say?
No. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, and it's all about, he feels that all of Ireland's going to be unified. You know, it's going to become one place again. Yeah. Anyway, let's watch the video. Very interesting. And thanks very much to our warrior calls. And obviously, Mark, whatever his name is, Molby, I think his name is. But anyway, and thank you, Mickey.
Thank you, Kat.
Good evening. Before I played this video, I wish to do a short introduction. Why? Because this is an emergency situation for my brothers and sisters in Ireland, Eire. My heritage is Irish. Background, the Dunn family. And I love that country with all my heart. The man you're about to hear from is one of your people, who's bringing forth an enormous truth, and everybody in Ireland needs to take the time and listen to the evidence that he's showing you here. It is incredible, and it is one of the first times in all the interviews that I've done, over 300 of them in the last couple of years, that I've hardly spoken. And the reason for that is this man has done his due diligence. This man is sharing with you from his heart and the journey that he's been on, the truth. and what is actually going on right now in Ireland. The people of Ireland, you're in danger, and you need to all wake up. I love you with all my heart and soul. God bless, and enjoy this incredible truth that we are bringing forth now to this world. Today's date is November the 11th, 2022. I'm blessed to have with me my brother from across the pond in Ireland, my Irish brother, Mouse Mark. Mark, thank you for calling me and contacting me. So sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to record this for you so you had a copy of it.
Fantastic, Christopher. We would just start off here with what we were saying. Christopher started me in this journey. I live on an island, and I didn't know this. It's partitioned. It was partitioned in 1921. You have Northern Ireland, that's where I apparently live, and you have the Republic of Ireland, which it's only exists on paper, Christopher, would you say?
Yes.
And since we have seen that, that man held up this book, and that is the original 1942 Constitution of Ireland. They incorporated, okay? Whereas this one is a colour. No, this is the original one of this. This is the original draft constitution, which was brought out by we, the people, on the 1st of July, 1937. That's it there, the date's on it. And it's written in Cló Gaelic. Cló Gaelic is Irish font. And it's an indigenous text. And it was written in both English and in Cló Gaelic. And the Cló Gaelic is specially protected. It says on it, Irish is the first national official principal text. English is the second official text. So then I started looking a wee bit more into it, and the name of the state is Eire. E-Fada I-R-E. It's Ireland in the English language. So when you're writing it down on a piece of paper, you have to write Eire, E-Fada I-R-E, as pursuant to the enrolled text. It's on the coinage. If you take out your coinage over here, it says Eire on it. That is the Republic of Ireland. And this is the Irish Republic. That was given to us. We adopted it and we brought it into the full force of law on the 29th of December 1937. That's when we got independence. They say we declared independence on the 21st of January 1919. That was the first sitting of the Dáil Éireann. That was this national government, the first sovereign government. And from then, we had a war of independence, then we had a civil war, and then we had the Anglo-Irish Treaty, which was signed on the 6th of December 1921 in 10 Downing Street. I have here as well, there it is there, the minutes and sessions of the treaty in the Dáil Éireann, 1921 to 1922. I have also the minutes of the first sitting Dáil Éireann in the Mansion House. They sit in a place called Leinster House now, which is not the government. It is the Crown establishment. The Crown never ever left our island. In 800 years, the President, Unuachtaráin Héireann, is his correct title. The President of Ireland incorporates him as the Viceroy Deputy to now Charles Regis III. History repeats itself every 100 years. So it's a 99-year land lease. And in the treaty, they brought out the treaty in 1921. It was signed in 10 Downing Street, 6th of December. It took 10 months to ratify. And then they brought it into the full force of law on the 6th of December, 1922. So 99 years, a 99-year lease from then to now is 99 years, 364 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds will bring you right up until midnight on the 5th of December this year. And the Queen has died 2020, so 1945 to 2020 is the birth certificate. It's a corporation. All corporations have a lifespan of 70 to 75 years. Her corporation as the head of establishment was up. So what we are seeing is a change of the old guard. And what we witnessed over here when she died was Operation London Bridge. And I looked further into it, and there was another part called Operation Shamrock. Sinn Féin, which was the Republican Party. This is the 4 provinces. That's where I'm from. Up there, the yellow one, Ulster. Okay, you have Ulster, Munster, Connacht, and Leinster. And they all make up a state called Eire. And in the English language, Ireland. In the French language, Irlandese. In the Spanish language, Irlanda. In the Irish language, Eire. And it is something that the people on this island fail to recognise. They call it Ireland, they call it the Free State, they call it the Republic of Ireland, they call it Northern Ireland, they call it everything but its official name. And what I'm trying to do is, I am being so heavily censored over here. The divide over here is shocking. I have had my eyes open, Christopher. It is unbelievable. The south of the territory, below us, I believe in 1922, when the Free State came into force, they called it the Irish Free State. And in Article 11 has, that you can look it up, it has the 99-year land lease. That's up this year, and they're not talking about it. They're talking about constitutional change. They're talking about referendums and unification. We are the Irish Republic. We already are a 32-county independent democratic state. It was internationally recognized by France. They tipped their hat. The French Republic. That's who tipped their hat. They're now France in all caps. You know, if you go into the Chicago Manual of Styles, 17th edition, on page 666, it tells you about American Sign Language. That's it there. You know what I mean? Yep. Sign language is for the deaf and the illiterate. And that's what you're looking at all over the world. People are looking at this, all caps. And if you're looking at it, you're going to fall under that rule of law, which is maritime law. It's contract law. It's world of the dead. And you have hit the nail on the head, Christopher, and I commend you. You simplified it. You know, keep it simple, because people want to overcomplicate it. Well, Christopher, we have. I went to Dublin last year, August last year. People wanted to know more about this. You see, that is a sovereign constitution, and that is an incorporated constitution, because through the treaty is a land lease, which created a statelet. It created 2 statelets, land lets, within a sovereign island, Eire. And they became the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. And they pay homage to the King and Europe. Now, what I say to people is, how can you stand with a constitutional position and say you're a sovereign, independent, democratic state and Europe rules you? It doesn't make sense. We need to close down our borders. We need to get out of Europe. We need to. This, I believe, is being hidden for a massive reason. This will bring down the Commonwealth. Why? Because of the fraud that they have committed on this island. We are the gateway. We are the most westerly island in Europe. And we are the gateway to the West. We are the gateway to you. We are the gateway to the Americas. South America, the biggest economic place in the world. And we control, through this here, we control our land, air, and water. And Britain didn't want to give it up. Why? Because they would have to do a deal with us to get across, or to be able to do deals with the Atlantic. And plus, we're the last frontier for the Atlantic. last Saturday morning, I don't want this to panic anybody, by the way. Last Saturday morning, I was lying up in my bed, 11:15 in the morning, and I heard this, my windows rattle. And I was going, wow, what is this? And I looked up, and there was 4 Typhoon jets flying low across my home. And a friend of mine sent it and says, "Did you hear that?" I says, "Did I hear it? I've seen it." That is £100 billion worth of the most sophisticated armour, fight machinery that has landed in Belfast Airport. Why? Because we're the next place till the Atlantic Ocean. They are in red alert, people. Be under no illusions. They're not telling us. But I lived through 20 years of conflict here, my first 20 years in the north. And we seen bombs, we seen people shot, we seen everything. We lived in a war. The British put us to the walls. The nationalist community. We were a second-class citizen. We know what it's like to be under scrutiny, to be under Big Brother, so to speak. We lived it. The MI5, MI6, even the higher echelons of the political parties, collusion. There was people shot that shouldn't have been shot. Everybody shouldn't have been shot. The war shouldn't have happened. Why? Because we are a 32 independent democratic state. This is a colour of law, Christopher. I know I'm going very fast, okay? But this is a colour of law which was created. It is a working definition of the rule of law. Therefore, it is accepted by a majority. The majority don't know why. It says on the front page in this here when they brought it out. How did they bring it out? They brought it out on the 1st of September, which I went and bought that book too. That is the minutes of the Dáil Éireann in September 1939. I had to prove it. I had to see it for myself. And it is called the First Amendment of the Constitution. Take into consideration that came out on the 29th of December 1937. 2 days later, you were into 1938. 2 days later, into 1938. Then you had 1 year, 9 months, 2 days, and that was the 1st of September 1939. They didn't want to give up Ireland, so they had to throw a big massive war, the Second World War, and they used the world because they didn't want to give it up. I am convinced of this because we are the Emerald Isle. We are the jewel in the crown. They have us for 800 years. Why are we so, it's so important. This book, please people, you need to understand. I know you're not into constitutions, Christopher, because man made them and all that, but this was written in by the people. And it on this book here, it says, this text, right, because they changed the Irish to standard Irish. That is a work of art in that. It is really scripted. It's even spelled differently. Everything's completely different about it. I handed it to Irish people and I said, "Can you read that?" They couldn't read it. They couldn't read it. We had to find Irish specialists. They're translating it and all for us at the minute. But this one that they brought out is Roman civil procedure. That's what it is. Rome doesn't want to give us up with our ancient indigenous text, so they wanted to put us onto this and take complete control of us. So this text of the Constitution, that's the Constitution. I bought the original as well. That is the Constitution. So it says, the text of the Constitution is a copy of the text prepared. A copy of the text prepared. In accordance with Article 25 and enrolled in the office of the Registrar of the Supreme Court on the 25th day of March 1942, under emergency wartime measures. We were not at war, we were a neutral country. We had 83 posts around our country which said Eire, because if we had to join forces with the Brits, the Germans would have bombed the dung out of us. If we had to join forces with the Germans, the Brits would have. So we says we're neutral. It's known, and we've remained neutral until now. the transitionary provisions, Articles 51 to 50 or 63, inclusive, which continue to have the force of law and however omitted from the official text, omitted, which means it's still there. This has got 63 articles. This has got 50 articles. In 1942, the Second Amendment, that was done under the First Amendment, was emergency time of war. Then they done more corruption, and on the 1st of May 1941, they came out with the definition of tidying up the articles. Wow. So what is the definition of tidying up something? To take away or to remove. That is 50 articles of the same book. That is 63 articles of the original book. In 63 articles, no, in 50 articles, there are 42 more words than what there is in 63 articles. Now, they removed articles 51 to 63 conclusively, 13 articles. And in the last article, it says, and they run from this. They run from this. Why? Because this text is embodied forever. It says, a copy of this Constitution, signed by the Taoiseach, the Chief Justice, and the Chairman of Dáil Éireann, shall be enrolled for record in the office of the Registrar of the Supreme Court, and such signed copy will be conclusive, irrefutable evidence of the provisions of this Constitution, this one. In case of conflict between the Irish and English text, the Irish text shall prevail. They don't want to know that there, because the Irish text then takes supremacy over this. And in the first, it says here in the preamble, because what this book here done was remove the oath to the king. Right? It removed the oath to the king, and we have an oath to our divine Lord Jesus, our divine Lord Christ God. And it says, the preamble, in the name of the most holy Trinity, from whom is all authority, and to whom our final end, all actions of both men and states will be referred. My friend Rory Bryan asked that in the Constitutional Court of Record after doing a divine special appearance and using the SETI key. He says, yes, we, SETI key. Rory Breen is Adam Dunn. That was bringing in French, Irish. He says, I claim I am a living man, Irish native in the territory Eire. Then he held up the Constitution and he says, do you recognize this Constitution to the judge? And it was an original green copy. I found it. And she sat there. Alice Doyle was her name, Alice of the Doyle family. She read it out in a court too. We got her to read it out. It was wonderful. It's all recorded and I'm going to send it to you. You're going to love it. Then he says, I'll ask you again, do you recognize this Constitution? She sat and she was going, yeah. And she was going, oh. And he goes, am I going to ask you a third and final thing? Do you recognize this Constitution? She says, yes, I do. Now, can you please sit down? And he goes, I'm unwrapped. That means the Irish Constitution. And he says, go over me and my august. And he sat down. And so she was arguing with him during the procession. And he says, have you read my conditional acceptance? And she was going, I have looked at it. I haven't read it. And he says, may I suggest you read it? Okay, whatever. And she'll read it the next time. And he was saying, my fee schedule is into the court too. And she was going, that holds no water in this court. He says, there is no water in this court. This is a constitutional court of record. The place went silent. But once he read out this here, I told them, if you want to get their attention, read out the first part of the preamble. He says, all actions of both men and states will be referred. We counted 15 long seconds. Everybody was arguing. Barristers, everything. 15 long seconds. There was complete silence. You could hear the pin drop. Then he says, now, we will have no more nonsense in this court. And they went into, so the next thing they adjourned the court. They took us back. The next time we went back, the court was full of sergeants of the Garda. I looked, every one of them had 3 stakes. They were everywhere. And they were all there. He put invitations out to them to see to come along. And he fought for his life. He's fighting for his property with some finance company, Pepper Finance, trying to come in and take his family home property, homestead off them. It's vulture funds, European vulture funds. And he's fighting them through using the Constitution and through, he has got in contact with the Inland Revenue Service in America, the whole lot. He's done a lot of change in his status and things like that. He's using the Constitution because this Constitution affords us, it says on it here, we the people of Eire, humbly acknowledging all our obligations to our divine Lord Christ God, who sustained our fathers through century of trial, gratefully remembering their heroic and unremitting struggle to regain the rightful independence of our nation, and seeking to promote the common good with due observance, prudence, justice, and charity, so that the dignity and the freedom of the individual may be assured, true social order attained, the unity of our country restored, and concord established with other nations, do hereby adopt on the 1st of July, this one, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution on the 29th of December. That's an original copy of it. And it came into full force of law. Then you go into Article 1, and I ask people are saying, I'm a sovereign, and I'm going, but you don't need a piece of paper to tell you anything. You have it up in here. Knowledge is power. You've always said it, Christopher. A piece of paper, they can take it and rip it up and throw it away, and then what do you have? Nothing. Nothing. You have the clothes you're standing in, and that's it. You need to have knowledge. You need to know the difference between jurisdictions, land, air, water. I'm standing on the land, I'm breathing in the air, I walk into a shop, I take out money, I hand it over, I hand over a promise to pay the bearer on demand. He gives me a product. That is commerce. That is wet law. We have contracted. That is law. It's pretty simple. Laws, land, air, water, space. You're standing in my space. Can you please stand back, please? You know, it's universal. It was antecedent before even this Constitution. But this Constitution embodied God and not a sovereign king. It embodied God as a sovereign people, because we had been through enough in this country and we're still not out of it. We're more shaped now than what we were ever in. It's a banana kangaroo republic. It's disgusting. There's a man getting in now. Leo Varadkar's getting back into government after being voted out. He's becoming Taoiseach again now because he done a deal with Micheál Martin. And it says it in this book that once they suspended the Constitution via a time of war in 1939, that it leaves the door open for future governments to do likewise and to change the Constitution. And that's exactly what they're doing. Two governments have two parties in the House have came together united, and now they're going out to change the Constitution. And they're doing it under panic and fear while nobody's looking. And they're talking about constitutional change. They know the 99-year lease is up, and they're not saying there's a 99-year lease. It was signed here. Why? because the North was a Unionist majority, Protestant, right? There was 2/3 Unionist majority, 1/3 Nationalist. Half the Nationalists then fled to the South for fear of their life. And that's the agreement of why that there was signed, the treaty was signed. It is no longer, we done a census in 2020, and it is no longer a Unionist majority. So you had two people on this island. You had people who identified as Irish nationalists, and you had people who identified as British citizens, British subjects up in the north. And they're right, they're entitled to do so. If they want to do that, they're entitled to do so. The census there just came out and they held it back. And it came out there and they says the North is no longer a Unionist majority. Sinn Féin won the election, which just passed there in May. Not one of them have sat in government since. And now they're talking about our election. They are now the largest nationalist party in the North for the first time in the creation of 100 years. And it is a nationalist. Sinn Féin are now becoming the biggest party in the South. And that gives them a mandate to come as a united Ireland under the Crown. They're looking to reincorporate Northern Ireland, all caps and brackets, it only exists on paper, and Republic of Ireland, all caps and brackets, only exists in paper, acts of Parliament. If you look up Westminster, Westminster is actually the third Dáil, the third government for Ireland. And this book here, Article 1, the nation. So who is the nation? The nation is the people. We the people. So that's why Article 1, 2 and 3 in the Constitution is the nation. The Irish nation hereby affirms it's inalienable. Where did you ever hear that there before? Inalienable, indefeasible, and sovereign right to choose its own form of government, to determine its relations with other nations, and to develop its life, political, economic, cultural, in accordance with its own genius, the saints and scholars, and traditions. Well, Irish people have many traditions, and I can tell you this, people, it's not alcohol. It's not alcohol. Alcohol was the biggest poison. I'm a recovering alcoholic 9 years. It nearly took my life. And I'm here now. I'm a single parent to look after my 2 children, and I'm worried about the future that we're leaving for them. And if I don't do nothing about this, with my grandchildren, if they get the...
Well, I hope everybody was on the edge of their seats there, because, you know, when you watch that, the only people who win are the fakers.
Yeah.
That's what I've made videos. I've said this over and over again to you, that the fakers win. I'm not. We can just talk for a moment. I haven't watched the rest of the video right now because I'm making videos, and I just wanted to put this in so you can see other people and what he's noticed and realised. Because what it means is, it doesn't matter, as I said to Mickey, you could say you get 10 weeks holiday. I've upped it now, Mickey. 10 weeks paid holiday. You get 3 trips to the sauna. I'm giving you 2 paid holidays abroad. And I'm going to promise you all these things. And then we're going to have a war. And then I'm going to amend the document and take it all out. So what you think you voted for, you didn't. Even at that point. But we always know they're elected, not select. I mean, they're selected, not elected, and we know all that. But even at that bit, even when you think you voted for something, let's have a war, or we have to go, as long as they go to an emergency state, a different law takes over, and then they change everything. They just get it always, don't they? God, these people must make the board games because they know all the answers.
It's come for.
Anyway, it was very interesting listening to this guy, Mark Mulby. I think it's Mulby. And obviously, A Warrior Calls has put this out. If you don't know, you don't know. But sometimes you do. It's a bit weird, really. It's almost like, you know, he's obviously talking about Ireland there, but if you looked into England, it's exactly the same here. It's exactly the same in America and France. These Romans took over, and what it is, I say, in the church is mentioned Romans. That's what's mentioned, is the All Saints Church wants to be Catholic in the Protestant. And then you've got him with document with the Roman bit in because they couldn't let go. Or it's all just part of the game, isn't it? Because they set the narrative, and before, so say you think, I'm getting 10 weeks holiday, and they're paying for me to do this. Oh, a war. Oh, what? This, that. Oh, right. Oh, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just they are. Oh, I'm running out of words. God.
Clever how they do it. Let's do it that way.
Yeah, and we're always on the hoof.
Yeah.
It's so interesting hearing what he says. If we, you know, as a channel, I like to see or find that other bit of history. And I mean, when have you heard what he's saying? Or even the knowledge of that document? But I actually think that what he wants is, he would like it if document number 1 was going still. The first one, the one that people made, without the omissions, without the 50 and the 75 omissions in those documents. But that's not going to happen. But it's really interesting that he's found all that. Yeah. Yeah, because the more you know that it's the Roman Egyptian thing. Oh, we need to be saved by someone. You know, in the film it was Arnie and you know, others, Bruce Willis. We need a saviour. We need this big person to come along and save us. No, we have to save ourselves. That's the only way we can do it. And the more you listen to, the more you know. I didn't like what he said, only because it's like, oh no, there's more. It's how they managed to do it. What, was everybody asleep? Was it that they're so drummed with whatever the big event was, because that's what happened in the 18 and maybe early 18s and 1900s, and then before you know, we're at war again, and everybody's just blind. They're just into the war. Well, they're still doing it today. People need to wake up. But anyway, I think it's a great video. I can't see there's any problems with someone working out what was law, and yeah, I like the fact as well about being I'm on land, because he talked about the Admiral Law. I find that really strange, Mickey, that Admiral Law was to cover the water, so why is it on land? How can it be on land? We know why it is, because they had to do that to make their wicked ways, but how can it be? We're not a ship. But the other thing as well is, sorry, carry on.
It's in the language, isn't it? Yeah. People don't want to go to meaning. All of the language, maritime language.
Is this how they managed to make everywhere into a plot? Because America, when you zoom in, it's just plot upon plot. It's all plotted out. This is land. This is real. What do you call it? Real. What do you call it in a business? I can't think of the word. But anyway, it's property. It's all money. Just real money for them. And then when he was talking about Ireland, it was the same thing. It was like they were a piece of land for money.
For real estate, yeah.
Real estate, that's it.
We'll have that.
Ireland was real estate. As well, like, good God. So it's obviously the same in the UK. This is why you don't own your own home. You can't, because you're in their plot of land, in their plots of plots.
Yeah, very true.
God. It just gets more sinister, doesn't it, really? That's what I don't like.
Yeah,
because we just want the truth. We don't want any of this anymore. And the lies, there's just so many of them. It's absolutely exhausting to try and show this and talk about it and even trying to work it out. It's exhausting to lie. Why can't we just know the truth? Anyway, and this is probably why he sounds so a little bit irate in the video, because you know he's
standing up.
he basically, I don't think he takes a breath, because everything, you know, basically it probably could have been done over 3 or 4 hours and he fitted it all into an hour and a half because he didn't take a breath.
So when you have something to say important, you say that, you know, go for it, you know, you went for it.
Yeah, he did. Anyway, if you want to see the rest of this, please go over to his channel and watch. Brilliant, spot on. Thanks very much. Thanks, Mickey.
Thanks, Gareth.